The Ben Affleck Jernnifer Lopez drama is not stopping. Does she want to get his money now? Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signore, and we are live. We have amazing 1,500 people already watching as we started our live show. If you've ever missed a live show, what are you doing? We're live every Tuesdays and Thursdays. We hang out, talk pop culture. I get to talk with you guys. It's so much fun. And today's topic is more Jernnifer. It is, because look, this divorce is still the talk of the town. I'll be honest, I'm a little getting over it myself, but I'm still fascinated as to what actually happened, because I don't believe a lot of the stuff that's coming out in the press through the sources, etc. And I want to go through some of these new theories that are coming out and things. So apparently, here, let's start here. Apparently, reports are now coming in, because there's a lot of reports still coming in from yesterday today. It all started during their honeymoon in Italy, sources are saying. So let's go through this. I want you guys in the comments tell me which of these you buy more than the other. Honeymoon was over as it started. Ben Affleck's relationship issues began on their honeymoon in Lake Como, source familiar said. It included public outings with PDA and shopping, and there were, of course, cameras capturing it all. He was unhappy with paparazzi following them. She is an international superstar, and he acted like it came as a surprise that they would be followed around. Now, I'm already going to call BS in this, because he already knew that. How did you not know that during the Jernnifer 1.0 phase? He knows that's the deal. So now he's suddenly on the honeymoon was the breaking point where he's like, wait a second. I thought now I could see it's annoying for him every time it happens. When they weren't in front of the cameras, they could barely speak to each other during what was supposed to be the happiest time of their life. He sold her on him being a changed man, and that lasted a very short time, our source claimed. Now, maybe that's more accurate. I don't know. I wasn't there. But Insider told us that Affleck finally came to his senses about their renewed puppy love once his sobriety started to settle in with normality. When they started seeing each other again, he was just getting sober. He was in a vulnerable state, and whatever their chemistry played into that, he was in this frenzied, excitable state. Affleck has been open about his struggles with alcohol. He reportedly last returned to rehab in 2018. The whirlwind romance soon wore off as he adjusted to his sober life, started craving more privacy, and he could no longer take Lopez's level of celebrity, according to the Insider. He doesn't want the entourage and all the drama that comes with that in his home. Now, that I believe. I totally believe that based on things we've seen Affleck do in the documentary, etc. This I believe. He's working on his sobriety. He's trying to get better. And now the reality sets in of okay, I really do have a fascination with this woman. I like her butt, her and herself as well, whatever. But man, I really didn't realize how much this was going to be dealing with the press and the paparazzi. And now as I'm sober, I'm more clear, and I don't know if this actually was a good move. I think that could be believable. I'm not going to say that's completely unlikely. Sources previously told us JLo's feelings in the relationship came to an end in the spring. He's very protective of her, which fueled his decision to hold off on filing for a divorce. There was no way of getting around humiliating her. She's furious. He's humiliated her. He was the one who initiated getting back together. I don't know. The girl kept their love letters. So we're supposed to believe he's the initiator. This woman was obsessed with him based on that documentary, based on the evidence. She's made a big deal that he was the love of her life. Exactly. So you're telling me it was all him initiating it? You were still talking, still trying to keep him in your life, hoping it would happen. So that's one theory. Okay. That's one theory that's coming in as we're going through all this. It stalled in the honeymoon phase. Now, what's at stake? $640 million net worth after the bombshell decision to marry without a prenup. There's been this theory as well that she's really mad that she spent a lot of money on the relationship that he never did. In fact, we reported on this previously. This is another theory that this is all about revenge. She wants him to pay her half of the $150 million fortune she spent always picking up the tab during the ill-fated marriage. Now, I don't know how accurate this is or if this is even legal. In fact, I think I asked Christopher and he was like, it's not. You can't go get money based on what you spent. It doesn't matter. It doesn't work that way. But the mentality here is that she wants revenge on him. And that could be part of the reason there's no prenup and why she's filing it and trying to cause some drama. She may be trying to settle with him and demanding a certain amount that maybe is more than he has to. And I wouldn't be surprised if he ultimately is like, whatever, can we be done? We'll see. Maybe he gives. Maybe he doesn't. All I know is she is worth more based on, if you go up and look at net worths, she is worth more than him. They're both worth a lot, but with all her brands and fashion and jewelry and all her stuff that she has more income coming in than he does, even though he's doing all right himself. But now apparently she wants half of her ex's $150 million fortune is the rumor. She's worth $400 million is what these are the figures, just so you see the difference. Now, again, he's worth a lot. Don't get him wrong, but $400 million is more than half of that. So during their marriage, allegedly, through these sources say Ben would always grumble about spending money. I can relate. I'm sure everybody's like, do we really need all this money, JLo, spent on all this garbage? One little known secret is Jernnifer paid for much of their marital expenses, and now she feels he owes her. She's adding up all those private jet bills she's put on her plastic, the hotels, meals, clothes, coffees, high cost of living, what was done on her dime. She paid the lion's share for that $60 million mansion they bought, yada, yada, yada. Ben took so much money out of her, at least that's what she's saying. Girl, that's the cost of a relationship. Love does cost a thing, girl, and now you're learning it the hard way. And you spent it. You can't go back and be like, I regret spending all this money on you and I want it back. Sorry. That's how life works. And it's gone. And it's been spent. She's demanding a full inventory of what she's spent versus what he spent. And I think I could believe there is some lawyer being like, look how much she spent on trying to make this work and you didn't do anything. She did all the work. That's definitely the narrative she's putting out there. So this idea of revenge and money, I think that's likely. I don't think it's likely she'll get any of it unless Ben is feeling generous and just wants to move on and have a quicker split. Now, the other thoughts coming in, now here's sources coming in from today. Ben is selfish, sullen, and a loudmouth. He was impossible to be married to. Insiders tell the real reason they believe JLo split up, the truth over the prenup, why he left her humiliated. So here's now the new comment, the new comments coming in. So JLo finally chose to officially pull the plug on their marriage, filing for divorce, as we know, Tuesday of this week, second anniversary. As to why, quite unusually, without a lawyer, she's not saying, and she's asked friends not to comment. However, heartbreaking truth is, it seems Affleck did not want to fix the marriage. Although she had hoped to, their separation, which had lasted since April, could only go on for so long. He was impossible to be married to, says this source. I am told friends think he is selfish, sullen, impossible to please most of the time, and negative. She was constantly trying to lift his spirits, boost him up. It was exhausting. He's a loudmouth, loves to hear himself talk, and blusters on. She was a great audience. Mostly she hung on to his every word, but she is not as young and impersonal as she used to be. Now, I'm going to call bullshit on this because there's literally an explicit example in the greatest love story ever told where he's constantly lifting her up. She's so insecure and frustrating and negative, crying, and Ben's constantly there like, this movie's not going to suck. It's going to be great. Like, he's constantly being the good guy. And there's moments where it's like the cameras are far away. I just don't believe it was staged or completely fake. There's another moment in the documentary, which I've talked about. It triggered me. He's in there making this movie. He's showing off the lens vehicle, like the truck that has all the camera lenses. And if you're like a movie nerd like Ben Affleck is, a director, you get really excited about the lenses. I can relate. And he's like trying to show her the lenses. And she's immediately like, I don't care. She even says it. I don't care. And just storms off. Now, look, I get it. My Jami doesn't care about certain things I don't like, but to be that like callous on camera, to make it that clear, to not offer a little bit of like, oh, thanks, Ben, or I'll be a little bit more like, this is cute, but I got to go do some other stuff, but I'm so glad you're happy. Enjoy. Like, it just came across very mean. So this idea that Ben was always the problem, nice try, girl. There's video evidence of you also not being supportive. So I didn't see any of that of Ben. I'm sure it could be there. But yeah, this is a lot of deflection in my mind of things that she's doing. She's constantly blaming other people for it. She blames her parents for being workaholics and narcissists. Girl, look in the mirror. It's all in the documentary. This is from her own words. Am I even trying to be hateful? I really didn't have an opinion on JLo that much. I didn't have a problem with her. Yeah, she's a diva is always what I thought. But seeing her in that documentary, it is so crystal clear the issues she faces and how she puts on the face in front of everybody else. And sure, she's emotional, and I do have some empathy for her. She's a human being. She has her own emotions. Even celebrities can have their off days, and etc. But she is a total narcissistic workaholic to a degree where it's like, girl, don't just start painting Ben that way because that's your problem that you need to constantly be online. He literally is quoted in the movie. I'm seeing it around. There's no amount of likes on social media that will please her and the hole in her heart for needing to be loved and wanted. Such a factual thing that she let him say and kept in the documentary. So I don't buy this. Negativity was overwhelming. She could not lift him anymore. I would say that is an absolute deflection. And I believe this is her side trying to paint him the bad guy. And this is why ultimately I'm Team Ben, because watching it firsthand in her documentary, it's actually the opposite. And I'm sure he was difficult. He's been an alcoholic. I'm sure it's clear the dude gets grumpy. That's easy to sort of blame when he's at the Grammys. He's like, I don't want to be here. But she knew that. He doesn't ever want to go to these events. He's never hid that. She's constantly forcing him to be like her, and he doesn't want to be. And when you force someone to be like you and do it all, they're going to get grumpy. So I don't fault him in that stuff. When he's seeing the paparazzi bug his kids, or they're having a tiff and they're there and he's got to slam the door, I find those moments of Ben to be relatable personally, because I can imagine it's tough. So I'm going to call BS in this. I don't know about you guys. Now, here's another theory that someone in the comments, and I'm sorry who said it, but I forgot, but I want to call it out here. One of the biggest betrayals, apparently, this is an older article, it's true, if true, he was blindsided ages ago when she cleared out his prized motorbike collection without warning. Now, this is from October 2022. So post-honeymoon, which if we were following this narrative that honeymoon was really where it ended, they were at odds fighting nonstop over everything. So that after the honeymoon, the reports, this is from 2022, and now it seems even more accurate. They were fighting nonstop over everything from his smoking to his clothing choices. And now, where I was learned, JLO got rid of her new husband's beloved motorbike collection. I 100% buy this. She was always complaining, but she even said that was the last vice he had. He cut off alcohol, everything else he needed to smoke, but she hated smoking. And I can relate. I think it's the grossest habit in the world, but the dude's not killing himself with booze. Let him have a cigarette, I guess, for now in the meanwhile. Meanwhile, the wardrobe and bad habits, she'd constantly bicker. He's a jeans and t-shirt guy. Jennifer's trying to tell him he can do what he can't wear. And it was his smoking became an issue. She hates the cigarettes. He promised to give it up, but with all her nagging, he's smoking more than ever. She's angry how messy he is. Ben doesn't clean up after himself, which irritates the hell out of her. The insider claims JLo even had Affleck's prized motorbike collection cleared out while they were away without telling him. She thinks they're unsafe, so she completely blindsided him, they allege. The perfectionist also lashed out on her new husband during an epic fight. She's been known to yell at him and point her finger. The first insider said, it makes people wonder if she mistakes him for the dog. Woo! Damn. So yeah, look, this happens in relationships. It does. Couples fight. If you're not fighting or disagreeing or having these moments, you're not finding the perfect way to sort of become partners. It's part of the you know? And the partners that work can get through those moments and support each other and apologize and listen and learn how not to do it, right? And support each other instead. But I do believe that you could see it from the error, the energy. These two were constantly bickering. Now, if this is true and she really just threw his motorcycles away or sold them off or whatever, that is such a betrayal. Now, no one's talking about this anywhere else. Thanks to the comment who pointed out, because when I looked it up, there were other points at this point that this happened. So it doesn't seem completely out of the realm of possibility that it's a lie. But when I looked at this, I was like, damn, that makes sense. Add to that, yeah, he's not very comfortable being her muse. That was evident in the documentary. It was evident. And the theory that he just he left a divorce filing to her because he gave up a long time ago. I got to say, I believe that part of the narrative. I do believe it. She wants to say it was all him. She tried, and maybe to an extent he did give up, but clearly he gave up based on these problems. And that's always the frustration in these divorces. Any divorce, it takes two to get a divorce. It takes two. If it's not working for somebody, you have to start asking, well, why isn't it working for them? What have I done? What could I have done better as a partner to help? And if you just constantly blame your partner and say you did everything and it's their fault, you're likely missing something, to be perfectly blunt. It's not usually, as I've talked to Christopher Melcher, who's an expert at divorce, it is a two-person problem. And marriage is a tough thing to keep, and it requires a lot of work on both ends, which Ben Affleck was notoriously criticized for saying when he won his Oscar and said it in front of his wife at the time, Jennifer Garner, and sort of had his foot in his mouth. Marriage is hard. And the reality is that was a very relatable moment where he was expressing that he was having trouble even then. So look, I don't have a problem with Ben as much as everyone else is trying to paint it out there. There's a lot more stories I want to go through, but those are the first ones I wanted to single out to show for you and spotlight. And if this one's true, which that's crazy. If this is actually true, Ben, damn, get that back out in the press again. And your PR team needs to sort of show a little bit of this, of her controlling nature. And I think it'll help do a lot of good, because that's effing nuts if she did it. It's one thing to be like, I don't want you to smoke anymore and get annoyed with it. That can be a deal breaker for many. But you're just sold his motorbikes because they're dangerous and didn't ask him? Shit. That's insane. But what do you think? What do you believe? I'm going through the comments now. I want to see your thoughts. Whose team are you on? And which of these theories do you think is most accurate? Guys, check out my review of It Ends With Us. It's now up on my channel, Movie World. We're going to watch the premiere right now. I'll put it at the end card. Here it is. Click on it, support it, go subscribe over there as well. Thanks so much for watching, guys.